Young men need more models, not critics.
What did you just say?
John Wooden said that, not referring to the types of models you're picturing right now. And I'm saying this. Welcome to High and Low. Good day and good night. Welcome to the High and Low Basketball Podcast. This is episode number 100 and Willis, aka episode number 119. 19 is the number that was worn by New York Knicks legend Willis Reed. Look at the Knicks. Hugo's secret team getting mentions 2 weeks in a row. Woo. Willis Reed is famous for limping onto the floor during warm-ups prior to Game 7 of the 1970 NBA Finals. As he made his appearance, Knicks fans showered Reed with rapturous applause because, he suffered an injury the game before in Game 6, and it looked like he was done. He was not coming back for the rest of the series. Then comes out for Game 7. So, of course, Knicks fans went nuts. This was their opportunity to win that championship. When he started Game 7, scored the first 2 field goals, and those were the only points he would bank for the rest of the game. 27 minutes, 4 points. However, the myth was cemented because he showed toughness and tenacity with those 4 points. Regardless, it's an image that is forever ingrained and tattooed in the brains and hearts of New Yorkers. Fun fact, Willis Reed is the first player to win that triple crown. He won the All-Star MVP, regular season MVP, and Finals MVP in the same year. Fun fact. Anyway, my name is Ike Amaechi, and I'm joined by Hugo, Sean Khan, and King from Parts Unknown. Around here, we live by the strict code governed by the High and Low Life Society, which means we talk about basketball, especially and specifically the NBA. And we talk about it at any time, anywhere, north, south, east, west, high, and low. This week on High and Low, we're looking back at the summers that players and franchises have had, and we're giving them a W or an L. We're picking the winners and the losers. We have another listener question, too. It's an interesting one. Got me thinking. It was food for thought, which is always good. Stay tuned for that. Before we lock in, let's quickly check in. Like I said, we're back in Parts Unknown for episode 100 in Willis. That means King is back at the table. King, how's your summer been, man?
Good. I've missed the podcast.
How you miss the podcast when you don't come visit, man? That don't make no sense.
I've been watching WNBA basketball by watching CNN News. And I've been watching Talking Heads by hearing about fake Kevin Durant trades. That's about the depth of my basketball knowledge this summer.
This man's already lying. Nobody watches WNBA.
That's right.
Wow.
I watched CNN. I watched her walk in and out of the jail cell. I didn't watch the game.
This is wrong on levels, man.
And then there would be cancellation. I know this.
I just want to give a quick shout out because I know this week, Patrick Beverley is going to come up on the podcast.
It's going to LA.
Yeah. But the WNBA, they have their own version of Pat Bev. Her name is Marina Mabrey. She plays for the Dallas Wings, man. Look her up. Just go on YouTube and just look up her exploits. She is a disturber on Pat Bev levels, man. Oof. Getting under people's skin. Love it.
Whoa, what's that name again?
Marina Mabrey.
But Pat Bev can play D, though, too, with this.
Mabrey. Sorry, go ahead.
Pat Bev.
She plays D.
She does? Okay.
Yeah. She plays defense. Like she's a hard-nosed defender, as they say. Toughness and tenacity. Tough and tenacious.
That's good, man. That wouldn't be like a distraction from the game, though. That'd be something that looks like it's worth watching.
Not at all.
Ooh, I like
Not
it.
at all.
She's irritating. I like it.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. That could be your new Liz Cambage.
Oh, here we go.
That's all I will say. Marina Mabrey. Shout out to you, Marina. Hugo, Sean, King, I appreciate your time this week. Thank you for joining me. Listeners, thank you for joining us for yet another installment of High and Low. Another week, another episode, more or less NBA. but definitely more high and low. This week in NBA history, Kyrie left the land. On August 30th, 2017, Kyrie Irving was traded to the Boston Celtics after making it known that he was ready to move on and be his own man. Kyrie had his fill of being little broed by LeBron James, and he was ready to be the alpha, the king himself, the Batman to whomever was Robin. So Kyrie was traded to Boston for Isaiah Thomas, Jay Crowder, and 2 future picks. I think there's another player in there somewhere, but I forget the player's name. Doesn't matter. Anyway, Kyrie to Boston was a big story, but the biggest part of this story, in my opinion, was the Celtics' treatment of IT, Isaiah Thomas. So this trade was coming off a huge season for Isaiah Thomas, a season in which he averaged 29 points a game, led the Celtics to the best record in the East, and they ended up getting all the way to the Eastern Conference Finals. They lost to the Cavs in 5 games, but they still got to the Eastern Conference Finals, all while IT was playing through an agonizing hip injury. And King, you know how agonizing hip injuries are. They're painful, hard to play through. After playing through the pain, leading the Celtics to success, Danny Ainge rewards this man with a trade. Disrespect, speaking of disrespect. So IT's never been the same since then. You know, he rehabbed from the injury, struggled in Cleveland, and then essentially bounced around the league from team to team before fighting himself out of the league, struggling to even make an NBA roster. Personally, I lost a lot of respect for Boston. Just says a lot about their culture. Instead of rewarding a guy for having a career year, like maybe signing him to a new contract, an extension, backing up the Brinks truck, as they say, they did the opposite. Let's trade him away. Again, disrespect. Anyway, that's a little something for the NBA history nerds. Things are certainly happening. No, things are not. Well, no. There was a trade, but not much is happening in the NBA. As mentioned before, we have a listener question for the table. So let's talk about it.
Let's talk about something important.
Now, this question is from Candice in Toronto, Ontario. Sorry, I know Mitch is listening, so let me just say this again. It's from Candice in Toronto, Ontario. Can't pronounce the T when you say Toronto. Question is this. Ike said the NBA summer, hey, shout out to me.
I want you to take your ego out of the equation.
Ike said the NBA summer is a desert, and I agree. Should the NBA move the G League's regular season to the NBA's off season? Interesting question.
Interesting, but not a great question.
Interesting, but not a great.
My answer is no, absolutely not. The G League season needs to be running concurrently with the NBA season. There are players being called up from the G League to play in NBA games. They need to be in game shape when they get called up. They're not going to be in game shape if they're the 15th guy on an NBA roster getting no playing time. Also, don't you have anything else in your life besides basketball? Like, there's other sports. There's tons of content on TV and movies. Hell, read a book. We don't need to see full coverage of the G League. Pick a different hobby or something. I don't know. Figure it out.
Yeah, I kind of agree with Sean in the sense of if you don't have G Leaguers playing during the NBA season, then you're actually taking money out of their pockets, right? Because they get those prorated 10-day contracts, which a lot of them adds up to, sometimes, over $50,000, $60,000, $100,000. I think there does need to be a bit of a quiet season for the NBA. I don't think it needs to. I mean, I think that the stars drive enough content that there is at least something for you to read about, during the off season. But I don't think you need to, the machine doesn't have to run 24/7, 365. That's sort of the beauty of football. When football season's on, everybody knows it's on. And when the football season is done, everybody knows it's done. So, with that, with all the content that we've had coming out this summer, I mean, I was so surprised to see all of LeBron James' family dunking I thought that was the greatest thing I've ever seen in my life. You know, dude broke his foot. Yay. I think the only highlight of the summer for me really is Draymond Green's wedding and the blunts. That's about it. So let the NBA rest.
You messed up. You messed up there.
How did I mess up, man? How did I mess up?
You messed up when you said the content that we've had this summer. Since when is basketball content? It's a sport, man. It's a game.
I know, but I'm just saying, people want certain content.
I don't want content from NBA players. I don't want content. I want basketball. I want hoops.
I don't think anyone keeps track of who wins the G League or D League. I don't think anyone can name 3 championships. No one cares. It's garbage pickup.
Or 3 teams.
Well, I know Toronto won one. I know Portland won one. I don't know who the
Portland what?
Yeah, so if
Portland
no one's keeping track of who's winning, then it's not sport, right? It's just them practicing. You can host a scrimmage in your hometown every day. No one has to watch. No one has to care. We shouldn't have to think.
It's more than that. It's more than that.
I'd rather watch the Drew League stuff because this is marketed better. I'm not going to watch
blasphemous.
Construction
workers and retail managers, right there.
You lost me there.
No, I appreciate having a crowd all around the baseline getting excited about the game. I don't appreciate
that's for one game in which LeBron James.
That's right. That's all I want to watch.
Best player in the world.
D-League nonsense. They can go practice on their own home courts with 0 fans. Don't put it on television and make me think I can watch it and enjoy it.
I'll wait for you to finish.
It's garbage.
Listen. The reason why you have that perception of the G League, and not the only reason, but part of it, is because it's playing second fiddle.
Yep.
It's running during the regular season, and I agree with Sean. I think functionally, it's where it needs to be because players need to be game ready. If it's not running concurrently with the regular season, with the NBA season, then you're plucking guys on 10 days that may be playing in Europe or just playing overseas, right? Part of the reason why I think you have this perception is because you're not paying attention to it. It's not important because you have the NBA to focus on during that span of time during the course of the year. If it's the only basketball happening, and not to say I'm like, listen, I'm on the other side of the fence from Kendis with this one, even though Kendis is saying that he agrees with me that this NBA summer is a desert. But I do think that the importance or even the perception of the G League changes if it's the only basketball around. It's not gonna happen for the WNBA because there's certain people that just are not going to pay attention to females playing basketball because they can't dunk or whatever. You know what I mean? The product itself just isn't sufficient enough for some fans of the NBA. But if you get guys that you've maybe seen on an NBA court before, or these guys are good enough, you remember them from college, or these are guys that are coming straight from high school, they're in, like there's some sort of draw there, and there's a level of play that is somewhat closer to the NBA basketball that we usually watch throughout the course of the year. I can see that. I think your perception of the G League changes if it's the only basketball that you can watch.
And you made a good point about like there being like draws and attractions with certain players. Jalen Green skipped college and was it Jalen Green? He skipped college and went straight to the G League and got paid $500,000 to play in the G League, which was unheard of for a player to do that. So at his age, so that was actually an intriguing storyline for me. I almost tuned in. Like I don't think it was on TV though. But I had some interest to watch that, and I think the team he played for, were they not some kind of like sponsored
Ignite.
Team? Yeah, they're like a club team,
Ignite.
right? Yeah, it's not an actual city-based team, right? Is that correct?
Yeah, it's a club team. They pick up players that are just straight out of high school, and they will sign them to a similar contract, like $500,000.
See, that's interesting. Like that storyline is interesting when you can poach players like that. So yeah, you definitely had a valid point. But that being said, I do watch college basketball, which also runs at the same time as the NBA. Not as much as I watch the NBA, but like I watch all of March Madness if I can.
Yeah, that's a different product though. That's a different product,
correct.
And a different vibe. It's totally different.
Right.
You can feel the drama in each one of those games. You know that these are the last time these guys are playing together. It's a different product. G League and D League is just, oh, they're not on the team. Maybe they're good, maybe they're not. Who cares?
It's a feeder league. It's a minor league system. Baseball has it too, obviously. Like it's functionality, and that's a good word that you use. Like the functionality is to train these guys to get to the next level and pay them for it, and also have like a few extra players that in case guys get injured, you can call up.
Yeah, but we don't have to pretend it's a television-ready product. Like, no one has to watch this stuff.
If you understand an obsession, then you know you won't change my mind.
Candace. Actually, you know, Candace, good question, man, because it did spark some healthy debate. So
yeah, and sorry, I did say bad question. It was a relevant question because I did make that point last week. So no, it was a relevant question, but
yeah. You see, notice how Sean's not saying good. He's just like, it's relevant. It's relevant. It's a relevant question. Now, shout out to you, Candace. Thank you very much. And just another reminder to listeners, hey, get that high and low merch. It's available on Vonn+Abrahamm.com. Link is in the show notes. If you want to leave a question for podcast, drop a DM on TikTok, Instagram. Again, links are in the show notes. So it's time to make this segment look up at the cloud that hasn't moved in 6 months. It's just over there, right over the ridge.
Nope.
When we come back, we're looking at the winners and losers of the summer. If you didn't watch Nope, you'll have no idea what I just talked about. But anyway, we'll be right back with more High and Low.
Oop.
This moment is brought to you by High and Low listeners. This week, we had listeners share their top 5 players you'll love to hate this coming NBA season. We heard from Charlie Q in Blackheath, England. And his top 5 are as follows, starting with number 5, Marcus Morris. Yes, the Jokic brothers would strongly agree with that one. And number 4 is Kevin Durant, KD. Steve Nash would strongly agree, I think. Number 3 is Russell Westbrook. Patrick Beverley would agree with that one. Speaking of Patrick Beverley, number 2 is Patrick Beverley. And Russell Westbrook would agree. This is going to be a fun season for the Lakers, I guarantee it. Number 1 is Ben Simmons. Because Ben, we have not forgotten. Well, Charlie hasn't forgotten. His memory's long. Great list, Charlie. The hate is strong in you. Thank you. Appreciate you. Now let's get back to High and Low.
John, one thing I can promise you, even in this market, is that I never ask my clients to judge me on my winners. I ask them to judge me on my losers because I have so few.
Can't you see what we're becoming to? We're losers. We're not winners. We're losers.
And we are back. I'm Ike Amaechi, and I'm here with Hugo King and Sean Khan. We're in parts unknown, enjoying the dog days of the summer. It's almost over. You know, the season is just around the corner, so, you know, it's time for us to look back at the summer, look at the winners and the losers since the Golden State Warriors took back the Larry O'Brien Trophy. I'll throw out some players or teams, and you can tell me if you're giving them a W or an L based on the summer that they had and how fans and media generally responded to it, or how you responded to it, for that matter. So let's start out with Chet Holmgren. Chet. That's Chet.
Watch your mouth.
You go. So Chet Holmgren drafted 2nd overall, injured his foot in a Seattle Pro-Am game when he was dunked on by LeBron James, and now he's out for the season. Gone. He will not play for the OKC Thunder at all in the 2022-2023 NBA season. So Chet Holmgren, does he get the W or the L?
W. It's all part of OKC's grand plan, right? Go ahead, play in those pro-am games. It doesn't mean anything, but show them how good you are. Play hard. Oh, you're hurt? Oh, we'll shut you down for the season. It's okay. We like them first-round draft picks.
Gets an L. It's another one of those Zion things. We're never going to see this guy play.
Oh.
No. He's too young.
So if it's legit, then yeah, this is pretty tough. But if it's some sort of conspiracy, it's a W.
But how much is Zion getting paid for not playing?
But I don't care about Zion anymore because I can't see him play, right?
That's a big W for Czech because he's still going to get paid for not doing anything.
Yeah. And he gets to play next to Victor Wembanyama next season.
Oh,
well, I'm sure that's what Sam Presti is hoping. Imagine that. 2 unicorns. Hey, speaking of OKC, Kevin Durant, former Thunder player. So his summer was okay. He asked for a trade.
Pretended.
He said, hey, it's either me or the coach and GM. And but eventually he met with management and ownership. They made up, and all is well.
All lies.
So Kevin Durant, does he get the W or the L this summer?
L. Giant L.
Okay.
Just non-news media. There's nothing to talk about, and they created drama that was never there. Horrible.
Yeah, either the drama was never there or it's still there. Like either way, like we don't know the
They're
truth.
not puppets, though, right? They're not. There's no one controlling all the strings. So if they're independent men, it's all effing nonsense. It's like gossip.
Yeah.
Are they independent men, or are they being pulled by some kind of media string? It's garbage. The whole conversation should never have happened.
I thought it was funny.
I agree with that.
That was funny as hell. I was going to call it a win because it was funny as hell. So determined to do all this stuff, and then all of a sudden he had to stay.
Because it was nonsense.
I want to leave. I got you for 4 years. You can't go nowhere.
Hasn't his reputation been like taking L's year after year since he left OKC?
Yeah,
maybe.
Like this guy, I don't know. Yeah, he's I mean, maybe he acts like he doesn't care, but I mean, the criticisms are legitimate. Like, you know, win a championship on your own without joining a 73-win team. So,
or just move your foot back behind the 3-point line when you shoot. Right? Like, it's all you.
Wow.
All you.
The dude's going to have like the second most threes of all time by the end of his career or something like that.
Exactly.
He's going to have the most almost two.
Almost threes. Yeah.
That happened in the second round of the NBA playoffs.
Dude, you know that was it.
Nowhere near
he was
the finals.
You know that was it, man.
Brooklyn was not going to beat Golden State even if they got to the finals.
Here's the question. No. Will he have another chance like that again?
No.
There you go.
Okay, I got another one for you. Lakers. The Los Angeles Lakers. The Lakers of Los Angeles. So no big moves. In quotes. No big moves.
Yet.
However, no big moves. They signed LeBron to a 2-year and $97 million contract. They traded away Horton Hears a Who, the guy who they took over, Alex Caruso, and then they picked up Patrick Beverley, a guy that Russ does not like. That was their move. And again, no big moves. But I don't want to sway the table. The Lakers of Los Angeles, W this summer or L?
So I'm seeing reports that the Lakers might release Russell Westbrook or just not have him on the active roster, just like the Rockets did with John Wall. So
I don't know how accurate that is.
It's legitimate news outlets reporting this. So I don't know. Yeah, I don't see what their direction is again, but I think Pat Bev, he will help them, but I think they're still not going to even come close to winning a title. So it's still an L.
Did Russell just play himself out of the league? Did he really play that badly last year?
No. He's a scapegoat.
I don't think so.
If he's on Wall, he's playing himself out of the league.
He played the most games out of that squad last year. Like, if anything, Anthony Davis should be getting roasted left, right, and center, but somehow he's being protected.
I hope he didn't think
because people love to hate Russ. They love.
So this is Russ. Listen. So this is why this is a W, and 1,000% a W. because
A W for the Lakers?
It's a W for the Lakers. You know why? Because it's going to lead into season 2 of what the F are the Lakers doing now, right? Last year was the debut season. They thought they were going to win a championship with an old-ass squad. Now they got a crazy-ass squad, right? There is going to be so much dysfunction on this team with a first-year coach and Rasheed Wallace as an assistant coach. Listen, you thought last year was jokes. This is going to be like just fantastic. This is going to be like, what's it, the 3rd or 4th season of The Wire where everything goes down? This is must-see TV. Guaranteed.
3rd season, by the way. 3rd season.
Those are very good points. But I think, didn't Rasheed Wallace not take, or didn't they not sign Wallace? Or I feel like he didn't take the job or something.
We can take a look anyway. Listen.
No, but I agree with you. It's gonna be a shit show.
I think what you're saying is that it's a W for you, not for the Lakers, because you get to see the drama unfold.
I didn't read the question.
If you're a part of the organization, do you think that's a W for you? You think the Lakers are taking this as a win?
Probably. Probably. Look at the team they had last year, and they were so confident, right? Probably they're looking at it. Listen, we got a chance here. We can win something here. Okay.
You know what? It's the Lakers' fault. If they didn't have that asterisk win, they wouldn't be doing this. They realize how bad they
Here we go. Somebody's upset, right? So there's somebody who's not on the podcast right now that just cussed. He's upset. He's punching the air, swearing, cussing people's names, the whole 9 yards.
Wikipedia put the star there. Shift 8. Wikipedia put Shift 8 there. It's not me.
Shift 8. Wow. That's crazy. Shift 8 is crazy. Okay. We don't mention names of part-timers on the podcast, so let's move on.
Yeah, just to confirm, no Rasheed Wallace on the Lakers coaching staff this year.
There you go. No Rasheed.
Still fireworks.
Okay. We got DeJounte Murray. How has his summer been? W or L? He was traded to the Hawks. Played on the Pro-Am circuit. Looked aggressive and disrespectful. Had a weird, strange beef with Paolo Banchero. Yeah. W or L for DeJounte?
I say a W. He's always willing to throw his fist with his skinny little arms. I think it's fun to watch.
Wow.
A la Leon Edwards.
I'm going to defer that. If it doesn't carry over into the season, then it's an L.
True.
So I'm going to say W because I barely knew who DeJounte Murray was before the situation. I don't watch basketball. No, but it's probably because he played in San Antonio. He was perceived to be like a quiet kind of guy. So
that's what I thought.
He definitely put himself in the spotlight. So W for that. But I mean,
he's their new Parker, man.
Yeah, I think there's an L because you don't need to be beefing with a kid that's never played in an NBA game. Mm-hmm. So be better than that.
What do you mean, kid? They're probably 2 years apart. Not even.
Just never played in the NBA.
In NBA years, that's a decade, man.
Yeah.
And he gets to play next to Trae Young next year. So
it just kind of shows a little bit of lack of composure, lack of maturity, potentially. I don't know. In my eyes.
Yeah. I like that he's a hothead, man. He's too skinny. You gotta have a little. You have to have a chip loose, man, to be that skinny playing in the
NBA. Chip loose.
Everybody does the same thing.
Chip on your
and
shoulder.
did we? Yeah.
Screw loose.
Yeah. Did we care what DeJounte Murray did last summer? Did we even know what DeJounte exactly? So you know what? I agree with Sean. W for DeJounte because we're talking about him.
You know what? His tight fade gets a W, man. I wish I could do that, man.
What's wrong with you?
Tight fade, wow.
What's wrong with you?
Can we have like a pause button or something?
Yeah, I'm working on it. Yeah. All right, let's move on to Draymond Green. Draymond Green got married, tied the knot, as they say. A big, lavish wedding with a weed bar, by the way. And the A-list of NBA players in attendance continued his back and forth with John Morant as well. W or L for Draymond Green this summer?
So it's a W for weed bar, wedding, and winning if they play Memphis in the playoffs again next season.
Weed bar, wedding, and winning.
See what
I
I
love
did there?
the three W's, the three dubs. Anyone else?
W.
Yeah, W for me. I'm still googling. I'm still googling weed bar. I'm really curious to see what it looked like. Absolute W.
It's all over. Can someone send King the
TikTok?
Send him a link.
For listeners that haven't seen it, that live in Iraq, but live in Iraq, there was like full cigars worth, like with cannabis inside them. So I think I call them Godfathers. But there was like boxes of these things all over the wedding. So it was pretty cool.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. W for Draymond Green for getting married, man. I'm going to give these answers a W. And we're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back with more High and Low.
All right, you guys, what's next?
And we are back. This is High and Low. And I have a few more before we sign off. So give me your W's or your L's, gentlemen. Let's continue on with the Boston Celtics. They picked up Malcolm Brogdon. They picked up Gallinari. And they're facing the Bucks on Christmas Day. Probably going to be the best matchup next to the Memphis Golden State matchup. Boston Celtics, W or L?
L for Boston. Brogdon is not box office, and Gallinari's never been box office. It's giant L's. They're just bench.
They already have box office.
Yeah, I'm just saying. So it's an L. They could have picked up something better. I don't want to see Brogdon in a Celtics uniform, and I don't want to see Gallinari in the league. So giant L's.
Oh my goodness!
I'm a big Brogdon fan. I think he could, propel them to a different level if he stays healthy. He reminds me a lot of Andre Miller in his prime.
Yes.
So, I mean, I'm going to say W, but I also don't think Boston is going to win the East this year. I think they're going to have a bit of a hangover from last year in that finals run, and they've had, like I said, a couple of deep playoff runs in the last 3 years. So I think there's going to be a bit of a hangover, and I think other teams in the East are going to, like Milwaukee, for example, is going to come to play this year.
Okay. Philly.
So you want to have Brogdon and Smart on the same team. You don't think they're redundant?
They're definitely not redundant.
Smart is not a point guard.
Yeah.
I don't need
Smart is a defensive specialist, but in terms of having the ball in your hand, like you don't want Smart running your offense.
No
Brogdon,
way.
you do. He's a very good half-court player.
Yeah. Yes. Malcolm's got to find that magic, though. He's gotten away from what made him special. You know what? I'll give the Celtics a W.
Was he special?
No, in Indiana, he was just all they had. He's not special. That's what I'm saying.
No, but when he was in Milwaukee was a really good piece. I don't think he's ever played to that level since leaving that squad.
It's been a downward slope. Indiana was the beginning of the hill, and then Milwaukee was even further down, and now Boston's the end of it.
I think he's still pretty young, isn't he? Like,
yeah, but he's not getting better. He's not getting better.
If he can find that magic, like Boston did all the right moves this summer with the cap and the money that they have and what they were able to wheel a deal for. They did the right moves. I'll give them a W on this, even though I hate the squad. I'll give them their W. How well those pieces hold up come the playoffs, we'll see, right? People can still make adjustments. People can still do whatever they need to do. But Boston, they get the W. They know what they're doing.
Okay.
Hold on, I want to add more to why it's an L. Gallinari's not going to run with these guys. It's a weird pickup, man. Gallinari's like a trailing five that shoots threes. Boston doesn't need that.
That's all he's got to do.
Boston doesn't need that
last year.
Boston doesn't need that.
I'm not huge on Gallinari either, and I think what it does give them, it gives them a little bit of like energy and life off the bench. It gives Tatum and Brown a little bit, because he'll provide some scoring. He may only be like 12, 13 points a game, but that's probably only like all you need from him. But I agree with you, he's not the long-term answer. But I think for a team coming off a finals run, he might give a little bit of a breather to those guys.
But this dude comes in, he's like at best, what, the third option? At best.
Gallinari?
I wouldn't even say that.
At best. Okay. He provides shooting, spacing.
He won't start.
Big body.
He won't start.
No.
Okay, so he doesn't start. Okay, fine. Comes off the bench, whatever. Like,
But he changes the rhythm, man.
You're
He's like a half court. It's not good, man. It's like fourth quarter, you're down 10 points. Put Gallinari on, see if you can get some threes and bring you back in the game. That's not what you want.
But are you okay? I wouldn't be looking at him at that situation anyway. But okay. You know what I mean?
Yeah, if you're relying on Gallinari, your team's not good to begin with anyway.
Exactly.
So they don't need to rely on him.
Points. Yeah, if you're down on points and you're looking at him to spark your team, I'd be like, listen, get the hell out of the stadium.
Yeah, your team is not worthy of being in the conversation.
There's a whole bunch of other dudes I'm talking to before I talk to that guy.
I don't know. I watched him play in Atlanta, and I didn't enjoy watching him come on the court and slow down Atlanta's rhythm. I didn't like it.
Was that good?
Yeah.
Okay, can we move on to the next one then?
Yes.
Yeah.
We got the Drew League. The Drew League. All I have is that LeBron James showed up.
W.
L.
That's part of my
L. I saw that coming. I saw that coming from Hugo.
So many L's on this. So many L's.
He's the best.
Can I add one L to that? Can I add another L?
L.
So
a big L. Rest in peace.
Rest in peace.
Exactly.
So I'm going to say W because I think these I want to say legit pro-ams are really cool. The Drew League has become a relevant tradition in basketball, and in what other sport do we see pros playing with average Joes? It's a super unique dynamic, and I think with these legitimate ones, I'm all for it.
Yeah, it's so exciting, man.
Okay, let me ask you a question.
Watched all the clips.
How many points did LeBron James score in that game?
I don't care.
I didn't watch the game.
There's no ticker, Hugo. There's no ticker.
I don't watch basketball in the offseason.
They are keeping stats.
There's no ticker on the screen. All my YouTube clips didn't have.
How many rebounds did LeBron James get that game, Hugo?
Well, listen, I know he scored like 43 points, and I was saying to myself, why are we taking stats? Like this is like a bona fide like Harlem.
You're proving my point.
Game.
Watching LeBron play in the Drew League was more exciting.
It's
tons of stats.
Nonsense. It means nothing.
But haven't you always wondered, like, what would it be like to see, like, you know, a baseball team go against your local softball team, or like, you know, your pickup hockey team in Canada for going against?
I would know that the team.
I've always thought that.
They've made.
Team. There was a reality show called, was it called Average Joes or something? The one that Shaq hosted.
Do you really think that Drew League
Pros
game
versus
was
Joes?
Pros versus Joes.
Competitive?
Yeah.
Do you think that was competitive in any way, shape, or form?
I don't care. It's about the exposure. It's cool to see LeBron play against these guys. I think. I don't know. You don't have to agree with me.
Until he breaks his ankle or something, and then what do you
super unique. I don't care about that either. Break your ankle. I've seen you play enough, LeBron.
Wow.
There's people coming out to watch J. Cole play basketball in Scarborough. The day that Drew League travels around North America and comes to Toronto, it'll be amazing. You will go, Hugo. You will be there.
I will not be there unless you get me free tickets.
All right, you guys, what's next?
The Pro-Am circuit. So LeBron showed up in Seattle. Players continue to play on Pro-Am games across the U.S. Highlights all over social media. I think Hugo called it content.
Barely.
So, you know, while I was a fan of the Drew League, and I think there's a few of these Pro-Am games or leagues that I think have become part of basketball now, part of tradition. It seems like everyone and their mother is now hosting a Pro-Am these days. So, you know, so let's try to not get too carried away with these. Like, I saw an ad for a Malachi Richardson headline Pro-Am game in Toronto. Like, who the fuck wants to see that?
Language.
Yeah, exactly. I'm gonna say L to the majority of these Pro-Ams, but the few key ones like the Drew League and whatever else there are. But there's a few that should stay, but I don't need to see all these other ones.
I'm going to go down the hypocritical route and say W. The more of these that the players can show up at and have people like Sean all mystified that playing against truckers and bus drivers, no offense, and burger flippers and whatever, you know.
It's competitive basketball, dude. It's more competitive than the G League sometimes.
But it ain't the G League and it ain't the NBA. So what are we talking about here?
This guy said more competitive than the G League.
I don't know. I like that dynamic. Like,
have you seen Michael Beasley balling up in here? Is that what we're talking about?
I think you could
construction workers and retail
it's a
managers.
W for me, man.
More competitive.
It's a W for me.
All right, W for you.
More of it.
Why the fuck I can't shoot 3-point shots?
That brings us to the end of this episode of High and Low. So thank you, Hugo. Thank you, Sean. Thank you, King. Parts Unknown. Subscribe to High and Low anywhere you find podcasts. And yeah, go ahead and make us a part of your weekly routine. You know where to find us. We're on Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, YouTube, all those places. Links to those are in the show notes. Where can listeners find you, Sean?
Yeah, you guys can find me enjoying other aspects of life besides basketball.
There you go.
I'll be watching movies. I'll be playing golf. I'll be watching content. So yeah, it's not all about basketball. So have some balance in life.
There you go. Hugo, where can they find you?
Still can't find me anywhere. I'm just going to be enjoying life as much as possible. Maybe take a bit of a hiatus to kind of unplug, reset, recharge, recalibrate, all those lovely words that people like to throw out there. So yeah, that's about it for me.
King, in Parts Unknown, where can they find you? I guess they can find you in Parts Unknown.
Still on TikTok under Media Kingdoms, where we will all eventually be on TikTok.
Where they will record every keystroke and have all your passwords.
It is inevitable.
All your information.
Can we, King? Can we find you helping me renovate my basement next week? Is that a possibility?
Let's post some pictures when it's done on TikTok, definitely.
And once again, music is by Live of the Enjoy Music Group. You can find Live on Twitter and Instagram at LYVE. Additional music by Sonny Rockwell of The Goodness. You can't find that guy anywhere. Sound design is by Vonn+Abrahamm. This is a Vonn+Abrahamm podcast, just in case you didn't know. So on behalf of Hugo, King, and Sean, I'm Ike Amaechi. Thank you for listening to High and Low, and we'll see you next week.